Imagine this situation. You rush to a hospital emergency room in the United States. A family member is sick or injured, and doctors begin treatment. Suddenly, someone whispers something that freezes the entire room. ICE agents are here. Your heart starts racing. Can immigration officers really enter a hospital? Can they question you while you are seeking medical care? Can they arrest someone inside a hospital building? And most importantly, what are your rights in that moment? Today, we are going to explain the real immigration rules behind hospitals, ICE enforcement, and immigrant rights in 2026. Hello everyone and welcome back. On this channel, we break down important immigration policies, legal rights, and real-world situations that immigrants may face in the United States. Our goal is simple: to help immigrants understand how immigration enforcement works, what their legal protections are, and how to respond calmly and correctly during difficult situations. Today's topic is one that many immigrants worry about, but very few fully understand. Can ICE arrest someone inside a hospital? There is a lot of confusion online. Some people believe hospitals are completely protected locations. Others believe immigration officers can enter any building at any time. The truth is more complex, and understanding the real rules could help protect you or your family in a stressful moment. In this video, we will explain how ICE enforcement rules work around hospitals, when immigration officers may or may not enter medical facilities, the legal rights immigrants have under US law, the most common mistakes people make during enforcement encounters, and how to respond calmly and safely if immigration officers appear. Hospitals are places where people seek urgent medical help, and no one should feel afraid to get treatment when they are sick or injured. Because of this, US immigration enforcement agencies have historically followed a policy regarding what are known as sensitive locations. These locations traditionally included schools, churches, funerals, public demonstrations, and hospitals. The idea behind these policies was simple: immigration enforcement should not interfere with critical public services or humanitarian situations. However, immigration enforcement policies have changed multiple times over the past decade. That is why in 2026, many immigrants are asking whether hospitals still provide protection from immigration enforcement. The answer depends on several factors, and to understand this clearly, we must examine how ICE enforcement policies actually work. ICE stands for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It is the federal agency responsible for enforcing immigration laws inside the United States. ICE officers may carry out enforcement actions such as arrests, questioning, detention, and deportation proceedings. However, their operations are guided by internal enforcement policies as well as constitutional legal protections. In the past, immigration agencies followed what were called sensitive location policies. These policies generally discouraged enforcement actions in places like hospitals, schools, and religious institutions. But an important detail here is that these policies were guidelines and not absolute legal bans. That means enforcement actions could still happen under certain circumstances. Trap number one is believing that hospitals are completely off limits to ICE. Many immigrants assume hospitals are legally protected spaces where immigration officers cannot operate at all. This is not entirely accurate. Hospitals are not immigration-free zones written into federal law. Instead, they are locations where enforcement agencies are expected to exercise discretion. This means officers may avoid enforcement actions unless certain conditions apply. For example, ICE officers may conduct enforcement if they are pursuing a serious criminal suspect, a national security concern, or a person who poses a public safety risk. In those cases, officers may request permission from supervisors to conduct an operation even at sensitive locations. However, routine immigration enforcement is generally discouraged in these environments. This means hospitals are considered sensitive but not completely immune from enforcement actions. Trap number two is talking too much during an immigration encounter. One of the most common mistakes immigrants make during encounters with immigration officers is saying too much because they feel nervous. When people feel stressed, they sometimes begin explaining their situation in detail, hoping the officer will understand. Unfortunately, this can create serious legal risks. Under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution, every person in the United States has the right to remain silent. This protection applies not only to citizens, but also to immigrants and non-citizens. This means you are not required to answer questions about your immigration status, your country of birth, or how you entered the United States. You may calmly say, "I choose to remain silent," or "I would like to speak with a lawyer." Legal organizations such as the American Civil Liberties Union often remind immigrants that remaining calm and limiting statements can prevent information from being used against them in immigration proceedings. Trap number 3 is confusing ICE agents with hospital staff or police. In stressful situations, immigrants sometimes cannot immediately recognize who they are speaking with. ICE officers usually carry official identification and law enforcement badges, and sometimes wear tactical clothing. However, not every uniformed person in a hospital is an immigration officer. Hospitals may have security personnel, local police officers, or federal agents working on unrelated cases. Before answering questions, it is reasonable to ask whether the person speaking to you is an immigration officer. You can also request to see official identification. Understanding who you are speaking with can help you determine how to respond properly. Another important factor involves warrants. Under U.S. law, entering certain private spaces may require a judicial warrant signed by a judge. However, many immigration enforcement documents are administrative warrants issued by immigration authorities themselves. These are not the same as court-issued warrants. If officers attempt to enter a private hospital room, legal protections may apply, and in some situations, officers may need proper authorization. However, public areas of hospitals such as waiting rooms, hallways, and parking areas may be treated differently under enforcement guidelines. These distinctions can influence how enforcement actions occur. Another important step for immigrants is understanding the documents they should carry. Depending on immigration status, this may include a permanent resident card, also known as a green card, an employment authorization document, valid visa documents, or passport identification. Lawful permanent residents are generally required to carry proof of status. Other immigrants may choose to keep copies of important documents in a safe place. However, experts strongly advise avoiding the use of false documents because presenting fraudulent identification can lead to serious legal consequences in immigration court. There are also certain statements immigrants should avoid making during enforcement encounters. For example, admitting unauthorized entry without legal advice, presenting incorrect information, or signing documents without understanding them can create complications. If officers ask someone to sign paperwork, it is acceptable to say that you would like to review the document with a lawyer before signing. Immigration attorneys often warn that signing documents too quickly can affect a person's ability to challenge removal or request legal relief later. If immigration officers appear in a hospital setting, experts recommend following a calm and respectful approach. First, do not panic. Second, do not run or attempt to hide. Third, politely ask whether you are free to leave. If officers say yes, you may calmly exit the area. If officers say no, you may choose to remain silent and request legal counsel. Remaining calm can help prevent misunderstandings and reduce the chance of escalation during stressful encounters. Organizations such as the American Civil Liberties Union provide guidance for immigrants regarding interactions with law enforcement. Their recommendations include knowing your right to remain silent, asking whether you are free to leave, requesting a lawyer if questioned about immigration status, and refusing consent to searches unless officers have a valid warrant. These constitutional protections apply to everyone in the United States, regardless of immigration status. Another factor shaping immigration enforcement in the coming years is technology. Between 2026 and 2030, immigration systems are expected to expand the use of biometric identity verification, facial recognition systems, digital travel records, and automated immigration databases. These technologies are already used in many airports and border control systems. In the future, these systems may continue to influence how immigration authorities verify identity and track immigration records. As immigration systems evolve, it will become even more important for immigrants to understand their legal rights and responsibilities. It is also important to remember that hospitals exist primarily to provide medical care. Doctors and medical staff focus on patient health and safety. Hospitals also follow privacy laws that protect patient information and medical confidentiality. Seeking medical treatment should always be the priority during emergencies, and fear of immigration enforcement should never prevent someone from receiving necessary medical care. Immigration laws and policies change frequently, and new updates appear throughout the year. To stay informed about immigration policy changes, visa rules, travel restrictions, and important legal awareness tips, you can join our official WhatsApp channel for immigration updates. The link to join the WhatsApp channel is available in the video description, and it will help you stay informed about important immigration developments affecting immigrants around the world. Let's quickly recap the key points from today's video. Hospitals are traditionally considered sensitive locations, but they are not completely off-limits to immigration enforcement. ICE operations in hospitals are generally limited, but may occur under certain circumstances. Immigrants should understand their constitutional rights, including the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Legal organizations such as the ACLU advise immigrants to remain calm, request legal counsel, and avoid providing unnecessary information during enforcement encounters. Carrying proper documentation and understanding your legal protections can make a significant difference during unexpected situations. As immigration policies and biometric systems continue evolving between 2026 and 2030, staying informed will remain extremely important. If you found this information helpful, please support the channel by sharing this video with friends and family who may benefit from understanding their immigration rights. Give the video a like so more people can discover this information, and subscribe to the channel for future updates on US immigration laws, visa rules, and global immigration news. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next immigration update.